The cry from the stars. The emergency klaxon shattered the peaceful quiet of Luna Station's monitoring center at 3:47 hours. Senior Communications Officer Maya Chen bolted upright from her chair, coffee mug clattering to the floor as every screen in the facility blazed red with incoming priority alerts. For 6 years, she had worked the graveyard shift at humanity's most advanced deep space listening post, and never had she seen anything like this cascade of warnings flooding her systems. "What the hell is happening out there?" called Director James Crawford as he rushed into the control room, still fastening his uniform jacket. His graying hair was disheveled from sleep, but his eyes were sharp with concern. The emergency beacon had dragged him from his quarters faster than any drill ever could. Maya's fingers danced across her console, trying to make sense of the chaotic data streaming in from the outer rim sensors. "Sir, we're receiving what appears to be a distress transmission from beyond the Kepler belt. The signal is, it's not human origin." She paused, double-checking her readings. "Director, this is coming from outside our solar system entirely." Crawford felt his pulse quicken. First contact protocols had been theoretical exercises for decades, dusty manuals that every deep space officer knew but never expected to use. He moved closer to Maya's station, watching the translation algorithms work to decode the alien transmission. "How far out are we talking?" "Signal origin is approximately 87 light-years from Earth, sir. Sector designation Gamma 7, near the Vega system." Maya's voice carried a mixture of excitement and fear. "Director, the computer is identifying this as a universal distress frequency. Someone out there is in serious trouble." The main speakers crackled to life as the translation software finally processed the alien message. The voice that filled the control room was unlike anything they had ever heard, melodic and harmonious, like wind through autumn leaves, but filled with unmistakable terror and desperation. "This is High Botanist Lesa of the Zephyrian Collective. Our peaceful worlds are under siege by the Shadowclaw Empire. They have already consumed 3 of our garden worlds, stripping them bare of all life. Our people are dying. Our children hide in the deepest groves, while our elders are taken as slaves. We are a people of growth and harmony. We know nothing of war or weapons. If any civilization receives this message, please help us. We are the last free system of our kind. Without aid, the Shadowclaw will harvest us all within 7 solar cycles. This is our final transmission before they discover our location." The message repeated twice more before dissolving into static. Maya and Director Crawford stared at each other in stunned silence. Finally, Crawford activated his emergency communication link to Earth Command. The holographic image of Admiral Sarah Rodriguez appeared within seconds, her expression alert despite the early hour in Geneva. "Luna Station, report your status," Admiral Rodriguez commanded, her dark eyes scanning the data feeds already being transmitted to her location. "Admiral, we have intercepted an alien distress call. A species called the Zephyrians is under attack by something called the Shadowclaw Empire." Crawford transmitted the full recording. "The situation appears desperate." Admiral Rodriguez listened to the alien message 3 times, her expression growing more serious with each repetition. "Director, I'm calling an emergency session of the Global Defense Council. Send me everything you have on this transmission. Every piece of data, every analysis." 2 hours later, the most important leaders of Earth were gathered in the secure conference chamber beneath the United Nations building in New York. The alien message played again through the room's advanced audio systems, and the melodic desperation of High Botanist Lesa's voice sent chills through every person present. President Elena Vasquez leaned forward in her chair. "What do we know about these Zephyrians?" Dr. Michael Jung, Earth's leading xenobiologist, consulted his hastily compiled research. Based on the linguistic patterns and references in their message, the Zephyrians appear to be a plant-based species that has achieved sapience. They mention garden worlds and deepest groves, which suggests their civilization is built around botanical environments. Most significantly, they claim to have no knowledge of warfare or weapons. "And the Shadowclaw Empire?" asked General Patricia Hayes. Dr. Zhang's expression darkened. "Less information available, but what we can infer is troubling. They're described as harvesters who consume entire worlds. The name itself suggests a predatory, aggressive species. If they're targeting peaceful civilizations, they're likely opportunistic conquerors." Secretary of Defense Robert Kim studied the star charts displayed on the room's screens. The Zephyrian system is 87 light-years away. Even with our fastest ships, we're looking at a 6-week journey each way. "Assuming we decide to get involved," interjected Secretary of State Lisa Park, "this isn't our conflict. We don't even know these aliens exist beyond this transmission." President Vasquez was quiet for a long moment, considering the implications. "Dr. Zhang, what happens if we don't respond?" "Based on their message, the Zephyrians will likely be extinct within weeks. A peaceful species with no military capability cannot resist an aggressive empire for long." Dr. Zhang paused. "Madam President, this could also represent our first opportunity to make contact with the galactic community. Our deep space probes have detected signs of numerous civilizations, but we've never established communication." Admiral Rodriguez stood. "If we're going to help, we need to move fast. The message indicates they have less than 7 of their solar cycles remaining. That could be anywhere from a few weeks to a few months, depending on their planet's rotation." President Vasquez looked around the table at the faces of her advisors. The weight of the decision pressed down on her shoulders. Humanity had never been tested on an interstellar scale. They had no idea what they would face in alien space, against alien enemies. "Admiral Rodriguez," the President said finally, "prepare a rescue fleet. We're going to help the Zephyrians." "Yes, Madam President. What size force should I authorize?" "Everything we can spare without leaving Earth defenseless. If we're doing this, we're doing it right." President Vasquez turned to the Secretary of Defense. "How quickly can we mobilize?" 12 hours to load supplies and brief the crews," General Hayes replied. "We can launch before tomorrow's dawn." As the meeting concluded, Dr. Zhang approached Admiral Rodriguez. "Admiral, there's something else you should consider. The Zephyrians mentioned they're people of growth and harmony. If they're truly a botanical species, they might have biological capabilities we don't understand. They could be valuable allies if we succeed." Admiral Rodriguez nodded grimly. "Let's focus on keeping them alive first. Then we can worry about friendship." Within hours, the largest fleet in human history was being assembled in Earth orbit. 12 of humanity's most advanced warships, led by the flagship UES Defiant under Captain Marcus Thompson, prepared for humanity's first interstellar military operation. The ships bristled with kinetic weapons, energy shields, and experimental technology that had never been tested in real combat. Captain Thompson stood on the bridge of the Defiant, watching Earth shrink behind them as the fleet engaged their experimental faster-than-light drives. The blue marble that held all of human civilization was now just a point of light in the darkness, and ahead lay the unknown dangers of interstellar war. "Navigation, confirm our heading," Thompson ordered. "Course locked for the Zephyrian system." "Sir." "Estimated travel time." 39 days at maximum sustainable speed," replied Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kim. Thompson activated the fleet-wide communication system. "All ships, this is Captain Thompson. In 39 days, we will arrive at an alien system to face an unknown enemy in defense of a species we've never met. This mission will define humanity's place in the galaxy. We go not as conquerors, but as protectors. We carry with us the hopes of Earth and the responsibility to prove that humanity stands for justice among the stars." As the human fleet disappeared into the cosmic void, traveling faster than light toward a destiny none of them could imagine, the galaxy was about to learn what happened when peaceful people called for help, and the call was answered by a species from a death world called Earth. The Zephyrian system waited in the darkness, unaware that salvation was racing toward them at incredible speed. The Shadowclaw Empire continued their methodical destruction, confident that no force in the galaxy would dare challenge their conquest. They had never encountered humans before. They were about to learn why Earth was classified as a death world, and why its people were considered the most dangerous species to ever reach for the stars. Thunder in the void. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zephyrian system, and Captain Marcus Thompson felt his heart sink at the devastation before them. Through the main view screen of the UES Defiant, he could see 3 worlds that had once been green and vibrant, now reduced to barren brown spheres stripped of all vegetation. Massive industrial complexes scared their surfaces like infected wounds. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kim from the navigation station. "They really did harvest entire planets." "Captain, I'm detecting 46 Shadowclaw vessels in the system," reported Tactical Officer David Park, his voice tight with concern. "Most are concentrated around the 4th planet, which appears to still have vegetation." Captain Thompson studied the tactical display with growing anger. The Shadowclaw ships were arranged in a loose formation around the last living world, clearly confident that no force would dare challenge them. Their vessels were massive and intimidating, built like predatory insects with dark hulls and protruding weapon arrays. "Communications, any sign of the Zephyrians?" Thompson asked. Officer Lisa Rodriguez worked frantically at her station. "Sir, I'm picking up very faint transmissions from the 4th planet's surface. The signals are heavily encrypted, but they match the linguistic patterns from the original distress call." "They're still alive," Thompson said with relief, "but probably not for long." "Dr. Chen, what can you tell me about those Shadowclaw ships?" Chief Science Officer Emma Chen analyzed the enemy vessels through the Defiant's advanced sensors. "Captain, their technology appears roughly equivalent to ours, but their ships are designed for intimidation and bombardment rather than ship-to-ship combat. They're built to terrorize civilian populations, not fight military forces." "How many civilian populations fight back?" asked Thompson grimly. "Probably none, sir, which means they've never faced real resistance." Captain Thompson opened a channel to the entire human fleet. "All ships, this is the Defiant. We're looking at overwhelming odds, but we have advantages they don't expect. These Shadowclaw forces are used to helpless victims, not warriors. We're going to show them the difference." He turned to his tactical officer. "Mr. Park, I want a full analysis of their formation. Where are their weak points?" "Sir, they're spread out around the planet in what looks like a harvesting pattern. Perfect for preventing escape. Terrible for mutual defense. Their flagship appears to be that massive dreadnought at the center of their formation. That's our primary target," Thompson decided. "If we can take out their command ship, the rest of their fleet will be in chaos. Dr. Chen, any weaknesses you can identify?" "Captain, their ships appear to generate massive energy signatures when they're actively harvesting. If we catch them during one of their operations, their power grids will be vulnerable to overload." "Perfect. Communications, can you reach the Zephyrians on the surface?" Officer Rodriguez worked to penetrate the alien encryption. After several tense minutes, her face lit up with success. "Sir, I've established contact with someone calling himself High Botanist Lisa." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the first human view of a Zephyrian. Lisa appeared to be a fusion of plant and animal characteristics, with bark-like skin that seemed to shift between brown and green, and eyes that glowed with an inner light like sunlight through leaves. Despite his alien appearance, his expression of desperate hope was universally recognizable. "Are you the ones who answered our call?" Lisa asked, his voice carrying that same musical quality they had heard in the distress signal. "We are humans from the planet Earth," Captain Thompson replied. "We received your message and came to help." Lisa's eyes widened in what appeared to be surprise. "Humans? But our galactic databases speak of your species as dangerous. They call your world a death world, full of violence and predators." "We can be dangerous," Thompson admitted, "but only to those who threaten innocent people. Tell me about your situation on the surface." Over the next hour, Lysa painted a horrifying picture of the Shadowclaw occupation. The insectoid aliens had built massive harvesting machines that were literally eating the planet's forests and grasslands. Millions of Zephyrians had been enslaved to feed organic matter into the alien machines, while others were hunted for sport by Shadowclaw warriors. We tried to hide in our deepest root networks, Lysa explained, but they have sensors that detect our biosignatures. Every day, more of our people are captured or killed. We estimate less than 2 million of our kind remain free on the surface. Dr. Chen leaned forward. High Botanist, do your people have any defensive capabilities at all? We can manipulate plant growth and communicate through root networks across continents, Lysa replied. But we cannot harm another living being. Our physiology prevents us from committing violence, even in self-defense. Captain Thompson felt a surge of protective anger. The Zephyrians were exactly what they appeared to be, a peaceful species being systematically destroyed by predators. Lysa, we're going to need your help to coordinate our attack. Can your people provide us with information about Shadowclaw positions and weaknesses? Yes, our root networks extend across the entire planet. We can see everything they do. Then let's end this nightmare. Captain Thompson closed the channel and turned to his crew. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to write the first chapter of humanity's reputation in the galaxy. Let's make sure it's a good one. The human fleet split into 3 tactical groups. The first group, led by the destroyers Phoenix and Thunderbolt, would attack the Shadowclaw harvesting operations on the planet's surface to disrupt their power grids. The second group, commanded by Captain Lisa Hayes aboard the cruiser Valiant, would engage the outer ring of enemy ships to prevent them from escaping or calling for reinforcements. The third group, led by Thompson himself, would drive straight for the enemy flagship. All ships initiate attack pattern Alpha, Thompson commanded. Remember, speed and precision. We only get one shot at surprise. The human ships engaged their stealth systems and moved into position. The Shadowclaw forces, drunk on their easy conquest, maintained loose formations and minimal sensor suites. They had never needed to worry about resistance before. The battle began when the Phoenix and Thunderbolt dropped out of stealth directly above the planet's largest harvesting complex. Their kinetic bombardment cannons spoke with thunder that could be heard across continents, turning the alien machinery into twisted metal and flame. The Shadowclaw ground forces scattered in panic, their harvesting operations grinding to a halt. Direct hit on primary harvesting station, reported Captain Hayes over the fleet channel. Their power grid is fluctuating. At the same moment, the Valiant and her escort ships emerged from stealth around the system's outer edge, their energy weapons lighting up the darkness as they engaged the Shadowclaw patrol vessels. The enemy ships, designed for terrorizing civilians, were no match for human military technology built for actual warfare. 3 enemy vessels destroyed, Hayes reported. The rest are trying to regroup, but they're in complete disarray. Captain Thompson watched the tactical display with satisfaction as the first phase of the battle unfolded perfectly. The Shadowclaw flagship was beginning to turn toward the human positions, its massive weapons charging for combat. It was exactly what he had hoped for. Now for the main event, Thompson muttered. All ships of Task Force 1, engage the enemy flagship. Show them what happens when you threaten innocent people. The UVS Defiant led the charge, her sister ships Destiny and Retribution flanking her as they raced toward the massive Shadowclaw dreadnought. The enemy ship was 3 times the size of any human vessel, its hull bristling with weapon ports and armored plating. But size wasn't everything in space combat. Enemy flagship is targeting us, called Tactical Officer Park. Massive energy buildup in their forward weapons. Evasive maneuvers, Thompson ordered. Show them how a ship from a death world dances. The human ship scattered just as the Shadowclaw dreadnought fired, its devastating energy beams cutting through empty space where the Defiant had been moments before. The humans regrouped and attacked from 3 different angles, their coordinated assault overwhelming the enemy's ability to track multiple targets. Their shields are down to 60%, Park reported as human weapons found their mark. But sir, their armor is incredibly thick. It's going to take time to punch through. Time we don't have, Thompson realized, watching as more Shadow Claw ships began to converge on their position. Dr. Chen, options. Captain, if we could overload their power core, the explosion would take out several of their ships at once, but we'd need to get inside their shields. Thompson smiled grimly. Mr. Park, prepare a full spread of penetrator missiles. We're going to ram our way through their defenses. Sir, that's incredibly dangerous. If we get too close to their explosion, then we better be fast. All ships, full attack, everything we have. The 3 human ships converged on the Shadowclaw flagship like wolves attacking a bear. Their weapons hammered the enemy shields until they collapsed, then switched to armor-piercing rounds that tore through the dreadnought's hull. The Shadowclaw ship returned fire desperately, but the humans were too fast, too coordinated. Hull breach in their engineering section, Park announced. I'm reading massive power fluctuations. All ships, emergency retreat, Thompson ordered. Get clear, now. The human vessels pulled back just as the Shadowclaw flagship's power core went critical. The explosion lit up the entire system like a newborn star, and when the light faded, the massive dreadnought was gone. The shockwave caught 2 other Shadowclaw ships that had been moving to assist, destroying them instantly. The remaining enemy vessels, seeing their flagship destroyed and their fleet in ruins, began to retreat toward the system's edge. But Captain Hayes and her ships were waiting for them. This is Captain Hayes to all retreating Shadowclaw vessels. She broadcast on an open channel. You have one chance to surrender. Drop your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or share the fate of your flagship. The Shadowclaw response was predictable. They opened fire on the human ships, blocking their escape. It was the last mistake they would ever make. Within minutes, the entire enemy fleet was either destroyed or disabled. Their threat to the Zephyrian people ended forever. As the battle concluded, Captain Thompson opened a channel to high botanist Lysa on the planet's surface. The Zephyrian's face appeared on screen, but now his expression showed wonder rather than desperation. The Shadowclaw ships are gone, Lysa said in amazement. Our route networks are reporting that their ground forces are fleeing into the wilderness. You actually defeated them. We told you we came to help, Thompson replied. How are your people? Alive, thanks to you. We will need time to heal our world and free those who were enslaved, but we will survive. The forests will grow again. Lysa paused. Captain Thompson, why did your people risk so much for strangers? Thompson thought for a moment before answering. Because when peaceful people call for help, humans answer. That's who we are. As the human fleet began rescue operations to free enslaved Zephyrians and hunt down fleeing Shadowclaw forces, news of the battle spread through the galaxy's communication networks. For the first time, the galactic community learned that the dangerous species from the death world called Earth had used their fearsome reputation not for conquest, but for protection. The humans had announced their presence to the galaxy not with threats, but with thunder in defense of the innocent, and across thousands of worlds, peaceful species looked toward Earth with new hope, knowing that if darkness ever came for them, the Deathworlders would answer their call. The Zephyrian system bloomed with new life as human medical ships helped heal the wounded and human engineers worked alongside Zephyrian botanists to restore the damaged ecosystems. It was the beginning of an alliance that would reshape the galaxy, founded on the simple principle that those who could fight had an obligation to protect those who could not. In the depths of space, other predatory empires received the news of the Shadowclaw defeat with growing unease. The galaxy had new protectors, and they came from a world where evolution had forged warriors out of necessity and compassion out of strength.